Serge Ibaka and the Raptors feeding off the home crowd in Toronto and tying up this series at 2 apiece. All Raptors tonight who pulled away, led by as many as 25, and take a 120-102 Game 4 win. If you subscribe to the theory that a series doesn't begin until a road team wins, then there is no series. If you like really close series where it comes down to 3 games to win 2, then this is the series for you, because that's where we are in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and, you know, both games have played out very similarly in that both teams had a chance in what I call 50-50 games to win a game on the road. Mm-hmm. Neither did. And then the other game, the home team emphatically won. And
right.
So now it does come down to a best 2 out of 3. And when you're an experienced team, which Toronto is, if you think about it, you know, you got Kawhi Leonard, who's MVP of the finals. Danny Green's a world champion. Mm-hmm. Marcus Gasol's played in a lot of playoff games over the course of his career. Serge Ibaka, you know, they've got a lot of tried and true veteran guys. They understand, like in a 7-game series, we know we got to win 1 there. Yeah, we'd like to win 1 or 2 or Game 5.
Sure.
We got 4 chances. And generally with each game, you should get a little more comfortable playing on the road in that environment. You know, you have a rhythm and a cadence to the game. And so right now, if you're Toronto, you feel really good because your scheme defensively, even though Chris Middleton and Giannis play well, no one else really had much of an impact.
Right.
Eric Bledsoe has been a no-show in this postseason. That's basically 2 postseasons in a row in a lot of ways. And so their inability to make shots from the perimeter, particularly at that position, Malcolm Brogdon struggled as well. It's going to be a challenge for them. You would hope they're going to have that home cooking and guys will get their rhythm like we saw with Fred VanVleet tonight and how he and Serge Ibaka bounced back. But Toronto now is going to go to Milwaukee with a tremendous amount of confidence, knowing that, hey, if we get 5, Game 5, we got a chance to close it out on our home floor, mm-hmm. which as the team that doesn't have home court, that's like a 7th game.
Sure.
If you have that chance.
You just pulled a Bill Walton on me. You went like 2.5 minutes before I even introduced you.
Yeah, well, I'm hyped.
That's Greg Anthony. That's Jason Terry right over there. I'm Matt.
Someone might have
no
watched
introduction needed.
No.
I don't know what point I was going to make. What are your thoughts on Game 4 here tonight? Toronto got contributions from their bench was huge tonight on a night when Kawhi Leonard was effective in a lot of ways, but didn't really seem to have his best stuff, as they say in baseball. Didn't really seem to have his fastball, if you will.
Well, Toronto came out with the mindset of we are going to be the aggressor. If you look at the head of the snake, and that's Kyle Lowry, he scored 12 of their first 24 points in the first quarter. He came out very dominant. He hit open shots. He made plays. GA talked about his presence on the glass. Just the little things is how Kyle Lowry put his imprint on this game tonight. And then the contribution from the bench, 48 bench points. Serge Ibaka in the second quarter had about 3 offensive rebounds that were momentum-type plays that took their lead from 6 to 11. And then nobody for the Milwaukee Bucks bench were in double figures.
It was the opposite of Game 3 when they were great. The bench was great in that game, kind of kept them in it.
Yeah, and it kept them in it. But, again, VanVleet tonight, he finally found his rhythm from 3. Norman Powell has been the most consistent and productive bench player throughout these playoffs. He got up 18 shots tonight, only had 18 points, but those were big points from him. They'll need to get that same consistency when they go into Milwaukee. As you know, bench players, GA, I was one, you were one at a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. You are most comfortable at home. Yeah. Right? Now you go on the road, it's just a little different. The hoops are still 10 feet.
Yeah, why is that, by the way?
But I don't know. The hoops are still 10 feet.
I've been asking this question for 15 years now, and I still don't get it.
Just go ahead.
You know what I think part of it is, generally the bench players aren't the stars.
Sure.
And, you know, so we need confidence to help us get our rhythm and get into a flow. Like, you know, your stars, they can miss 5 or 6 shots early in the game. It doesn't change who they are and their approach. We still expect them, and they know we need them to impact the game. For us, though, we generally aren't going to get 18 shots.
No.
You know, like in a game when you come off the bench, unless you're making a lot of shots.
Right.
And so you tend to, when you're home, you got the crowd behind you, you feed off of that, you get that energy, and you do know those opportunities will be there, but you've played in that arena an exponential amount of times compared to being on the road.
Right.
You know where your spots are going to be. You tend to be a quarter step quicker, because you got more confidence, and that does play a role in it. And that's a big part of it. I always felt that way.
I mean, it's true. You see it play out throughout the playoffs. It's definitely a thing. I've never completely understood it, but that makes sense.
And some of it is because you're younger.
If you're a starter and you're a star, you've got the green light, right? You're not worried about how many shots you're going to get off. But to your point, you're going to have limited minutes as a guy coming off the bench. And maybe, particularly if you're a scorer coming off the bench, if you don't have it that night, you may not be in the game that long.
May not be in the game. You look at George Hill tonight, played 26 minutes. To your point, GA, just didn't get the attempts. Yeah. He's 1 for 2.
Right.
He's been their leading scorer off the bench in the playoffs, averaging almost 15 points a game. So, again, just not those attempts. He'll get many more opportunities at home, which he did in games 1 and game 2.
Malcolm Brogdon, 2 of 11 off the bench as well. He's been really good. He heads back to Milwaukee.
It's probably the first night defensively where don't feel like we were close to where you need to be to give yourselves a chance. So credit to Toronto. They obviously played well, had a lot of guys step up and play well. Their bench was very good. We need to look at the film and see, the areas where we can be better defensively and offensively. We're just going to have to be better. But we're going home, and it's 2 very good teams. It's going to be a hell of a series.
Eric named The Athletic, but on a night where Kawhi doesn't score a lot, do you take a second to reconsider the defense and the open shots that you're giving to some of the other guys when you see the guys off the bench have the impact that they have?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of alluded to in the opening that I think defensively just tonight didn't feel like where we need to be defensively, as good as we need to be. So, just reflecting on the game, I'm not sure a lot of those were necessarily Kawhi Leonard centric. I think just some other guys played well. They got to good spots. They shared the ball. They passed it. They made open shots. They made some high degree difficulty shots. So that's a bad combination. They're making open looks and then they're making tough ones too. And we'll have to look to see how much of it is how we're guarding Leonard, what we're doing with Leonard, and how much of it is just we need to be better individually. We need to be better collectively.
Bud, Greg Matzek, WTMJ. Are you at a point after back-to-back losses where you may need to reconsider anything at your rotations or even your starting lineup?
Well, this group has been great. We're certainly going to look at the film and look at everything. You consider everything. We got a couple days between now and the game, and we'll evaluate it.
Came Pittman with a pick and roll, but the turnovers were down from game 3, but they still seemed like they were an issue. Do you put that down to the Raptors defense, or do you think you guys are being a little bit careless with the ball at times?
Both. There's some just hard to understand turnovers, but those, even some of the hard to understand ones, they've upped their aggressiveness, their activity. And so you have to be sharper with the ball. You have to be stronger with the ball. You have to cut harder, screen harder, do all those things. And even though if the turnovers were lower, I still don't think, we executed and took care of the ball the way we needed to.
Matt Velasquez, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. With their trapping and aggressiveness on defense, what do you guys need to do offensively to start to get things going?
Well, it always helps if we shoot the ball a little bit better. We got to finish in the paint better. It feels like, again, reflecting on the game, there's a handful of chances around the basket that we don't finish, and when we get open threes, we're gonna have to hit a higher percentage of them. But just the same stuff we've been doing. I thought Giannis passed it. I thought we found some guys again in the paint. And we're going to have to finish better there, finish better at the three-point line, or make more threes.
Bud, we spoke a lot about Brogdon, and obviously he's been so good since returning. It looked like a few of his shots were falling short early. Did you think that maybe fatigue was starting to catch up a little bit, considering how much time he's missed, or what did you see with him tonight?
Well, even a player that's been perfectly healthy and playing for months, occasionally they don't have their best games. And so, as a group, I think we can be better, but, you got to give Toronto a lot of credit tonight. They were very, very good. And, Malcolm, hopefully it's part of him just continue to get better legs, get better conditioning, more rhythm, and the more he plays, the better he'll be.
Eric Name with The Athletic. Just 20 minutes for Bledsoe tonight. What do you think about him going forward in this series? Is this a series that he's still going to be able to start and have a huge impact, or just kind of how have you seen him?
Yeah, Malcolm and George have played so well the last few games. I think we felt like maybe trying to get them on the court more. We're going to need Bled. Eric's been great for us. His defense, his ability to attack. We need him to play better. We need, the group to play better. So, but tonight, really, all three of those guys, Malcolm, George, and Eric, weren't as good as we need them to be.
Bud, Greg Matzik, WTMJ. In your experience, have you found it easy in this position to turn the page after a loss that was a little bit one-sided and focus on the task at hand and moving forward?
Easy is certainly not the word I would use, but sometimes when you get beat the way we did tonight, you can turn the page, flush it, whatever term you want to use to some degree, and just get ready for the next game. And the emotional toll of losing close games and heartbreakers sometimes is hard. We got punched. They played really well, and so in that sense, can we go home and get ready for another battle and be ready to go? I totally believe in Game 5 we'll be ready.
Eric Smith, last question.
Coach, Eric Smith, Sportsnet. Would it be fair to say so far in this series, it's been sort of the supporting cast of both teams that have made the difference? I mean, for all the talk of Giannis and Kawhi, it was Lopez, it was Ilyasova, it was Brogdon in 1 and 2. It's Powell again tonight. It's Van Vliet that are making the difference thus far?
Yeah, certainly, their bench, particularly tonight in a game where, they played so well as a group. Their bench stands out, 17, 18, 13. Norman Powell has more shots than anybody on their team. And we've had nights where our bench has been tremendous and, we were able to get wins. So, after 4 games, I think that's a fair thing to say. Some of the role players have stepped up on different nights for both teams. And, I guess it's pretty simplistic. The players that play better, that team's probably going to win. So credit to them and their bench tonight. All right, thanks, guys.
Mike Budenholzer there, and the Bucks head back home, tied up at 2 apiece. Kawhi Leonard, 52 minutes in the double overtime win.
He's a machine.
Game 3. He may be a robot. or he may have been fatigued because he didn't quite have it tonight. Giannis, he's got it.
The freak.
And then Giannis, getting that kind of space, it's always a tricky thing for a defender when he's got a little momentum. Where do you pick him up? How long do you sag back? Because he'll just blow by and do that.
You factor in the athleticism, the strength, and the terrific footwork. And Kyle Lowry, how about the start he had in that first quarter?
Kyle Lowry was huge in this game for the Toronto Raptors. Anytime he has big scoring nights, that's a bonus, obviously, for the Raps. He went for 12 in that first quarter, 18 at the half, and 25 on the night. Story, though, you just heard Coach Bud talking about it. Toronto's bench, Serge Ibaka, and then Norman Powell to the rim. Powell got off 18 shots, as Jet mentioned a moment ago. That one's off. Danny Green, it's blocked. Ibaka comes up with it and throws it down with a little emphasis on the back end.
And how about the response he had to the abysmal performance in Game 3? He bounced back in a big way with the double-double.
That finished a 13-0 run for Toronto. This is Chris Middleton, who kept the Bucks in this game for sections here and there.
He gave him hope.
59-53. He did give him hope. Kawhi Leonard right over Giannis. I love, Jet, in how often in this series the two superstars are matched up against one another.
And that's how it should be, GA. You know that. Playoff basketball, the stars have to come out and shine brightest in their brightest moments.
There it is again. Giannis passed Kawhi that time.
And part of that, too, is because they're also their respective teams' best defenders.
Right.
You
Well,
know,
they're all
which is-
similar positions.
Yeah,
It doesn't always
yeah.
work out that way, but in this series, it's great.
But not often is it that your best player is also your best defender. In this case, Milwaukee, your poorest free throw shooter.
This is becoming a thing now. Drake taunting Giannis at the free throw line. Giannis was 6 of 10 from the line, but as a team, Milwaukee missed 9 free throws on the night. Kawhi, not missing there. Pulls up and knocks it down, 6 of 13. Only took 13 shots for 19 points on the night. Raptors bench, huge. Norman Powell for 3. Fred VanVleet, a miserable game 3. He bounces back, knocks down all 3 of the threes he tried.
And the Bank of the North is open.
Of course it is. Different hours up there. 48 off the bench. That's a postseason high for Toronto. Starters find a way late. Lowry from deep, and then Lowry to Kawhi, who is locked and loaded. 19-7, 4 steals. And Toronto, led by as many as 25, evens up the series at 2 apiece with a 120-102 win. Let's head back inside. Head coach Nick Nurse on the win.
Defensively and execute the defensive schemes, and I just didn't see many problems there. You know, they were able to guard a bunch of different people. You know, 2 of those 3 guys, Norm and Serge, ended up on Giannis quite a bit. So chipping in there is good. Serge was great on the glass, and I thought both Fred and Norm give us. Fred gives us some play calling, some organization, but they both give us some dribble penetration and then some shooting too. So it's important that you know, those guys are out there to be able to, you know, catch the pass off the double teams, you know, space, and if they rush out to them, they can get back into the paint and make the next play as well.
You were able to get a lot of minutes with the 3 of them on the court at the same time, which you hadn't done a lot in these playoffs. How much does that ease the load on guys like Kawhi and Kyle and Mark and those starters?
Yeah, I think it's you know, probably one of the biggest pluses that we've seen here in the last couple games is that we are functioning very well in the minutes Kawhi's not out there, and even tonight with Kyle and Kawhi both not out there. And that's just, again, a little bit more the way we played probably in the regular season. You know, we played, I don't know exactly how many games, 22 or whatever, without both of them, right? So we have to go function without them sometimes, and it's nice to be able to do that so they can gather. You know, we can't. They're guarding tough players, and they're running the team, and they're playing defense, and taking a lot of shots and all that stuff too. So it's nice to be able to let them gather, or get their legs, get their breath back, and not have to play the whole game.
To Reed, coach, who is
Nick, Reed Forgrave with CBS Sports. Your offense was crisp right from the jump. I mean, what did you generally think about the rhythm and flow of you guys offensively?
Well, I mean, obviously it was really good tonight, right? I mean, anytime you look down and we get 32 assists, you know we're doing a lot right. And I think one of the interesting things about it is that Kawhi only has 1, right? And he was passing the ball all night. So there must have been where's Jonesy at? Jonesy keeps track of the hockey assists. He must have had a lot out, and then the next pass was leading to offense because they were putting, you know, multiple people on him. So I think again, we just went in with the right mindset of, you know, if you're drawing more than 1 defender, you got to get off it. And our spacing was pretty good. I thought we cut better tonight, maybe than we'd had for a long time. And we were cutting in and then respacing, and again, if they did get out to us, we'd you know, try to attack right back in and relocate and respace the floor and keep moving the ball.
we're going to go to Dan. Coach.
Nick, Dan Wicke with the Los Angeles Times. I think Giannis had 2 dunks in the layup, maybe in the first 3 or 4 minutes, and you called a quick timeout. What was your message to the team there, and did you guys make an adjustment after that point?
Well, I think that you know, we always talk about a lot of things about what's the foundation of our defense, and right at the top of the list is readiness. And I just didn't see us ready. We were kind of back, but we were kind of straight-legged. We weren't showing much length. Our what we call our gaps were too wide, right? And he just saw he sees those openings, and he's punching right through them. And we just needed to, we need to get down and bend our knees, right, and extend our arms and get ready to go and get ready to try to catch the first move and not give him the straight line. We got to make him, bow out a little bit so it can get to our next help defender.
To Scott, halfway to the back on the right, Coach.
Nick, Scott Stinson with Post Media. How is Kawhi doing? He seemed to be laboring a bit out there, and were you concerned at all about pushing him too hard tonight?
Yeah, we were concerned. I mean, I think he's fine, right? I think he's fine. I think he's, he logged a lot of minutes. He's certainly tired, like a lot of guys in this series are. I think, he looks, he looks okay to me, and I think there's a number of guys out there that aren't 100%, on both sides of the ball. But again, he's got tremendous will. Right, he's got tremendous desire, and there's one time I was trying to give him an extended rest there, and he didn't really want it, so he must be okay.
Coach, to Eric on the left, who has 2 questions for you.
Eric Curry, The Athletic. We talked before the game about offensive rebounding and the risk-reward of it. How important and impressive was what Serge did in that area?
Well, I said before the game and even in the Phillies series, we were trying to figure out a way for Serge to impact the series. It took him till about game 4 in that series when we decided to go big. I hadn't loved the big lineup in this series, but when they go a little smaller, I mean, they're hardly ever small, but when they take Lopez out, they go to a little bit more of a smaller type lineup, and that's when Serge enters the game. And he, I think he just was determined, and we talked about it before the game. We said, listen, our transition defense has got to be great. We think if we get them in the half court, we can guard them. And I said, make really good decisions. If you're going to go in there, flying in there, you better have a good chance to get your hands on it, or at least tip it to keep it alive. And if you don't, you got to get into your sprint back. So I think Serge just was determined to get in there and fight for some position, and he looked really big and bouncy tonight and strong, and he got his hands on a bunch of them.
Mark was really hard on himself after game 2. He said he sort of felt like his offense had impacted his defense. What have you seen from him in the last 2 games? And was, his struggles maybe overstated a bit just because the shots weren't falling?
A little bit. I think a lot of the game, we always talk about that, man. For some reason they didn't go in. Even that 1 for 9 that night he had, I think 6 of those went in and out, but again, give him a lot of credit. I went and talked to him the next day, and it was like I sensed nothing from him other than he told me I'm gonna have a great game. It wasn't like a soul searching. I didn't have to do a whole lot. I kind of told him, I said, listen, you are a great player, because my definition of a great player is you make all the other people around you better. And there's nobody else I'd want to go out there with than you. And he said, I'm gonna play great the next game. So his confidence didn't waver. He's been around a long time. He knows he can play and impact this game and impact this series in a big fashion.
To John, Coach, down front and to your left.
Coach, John Schumann, NBA.com. Last series, it felt like your bench got shorter as the series went on. What does it do for you as a coach to go now into game 5, 6, 7, knowing that your bench is playing better?
Well, I think that, again, there's some speed we need there with Norman. There's some athleticism there we need with Serge. And there's some ball handling and running the club with Fred, that we need from those guys. And all the other stuff that's happening, they're scoring, they're shooting it a little better. Serge is on the glass is really, them playing up to their capabilities. And it's just, again, it's just a different series. And it's been really interesting for me to see how things change so much from series to series. 1 minute you say, oh man, our big lineup's the answer. And then maybe, a couple 7 days later, it's not. It's a smaller lineup or some faster guys out there is the answer. So that's been interesting to see. But again, each game's its own entity, and let's see if those guys and all of those guys, we can go do it in Milwaukee. We need to take this challenge of playing in a hostile environment. Right, we're going into a tough, loud place to play, and let's see if those guys can bring that same pop and focus, determination on the road.
We'll do one last question from Mike Grange at the back.
Nick, Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hi, Michael.
Just touching on Fred, did you have any kind of heart-to-hearts with him? His shooting slump has been the whole postseason. He's contributed obviously in other ways,
Yep.
but to have him break out a little bit, do you want to? I mean, did you have any role in that, or any conversations along those lines?
Yeah, I'm not really, Michael. I think I might have been the last guy to know he went 1 for whatever he went the other night. I was so excited that we had to have him. Kyle fouled out with 6 minutes to go, and we played double overtime, and I thought he ran the team great. I didn't even know he, I kind of hear a few things, the 2 for 20, him and Danny, and I was like, geez, I didn't even know he was 1 for 12 because I was so excited that he stepped up and ran the team and got us a W. That's really his primary job, and we know we trust him to take open shots. We know he's a kind of a clutch shot maker as well. The only one that surprised me the other night was when we were up 4 with a minute to go, and he had that wide open 3, and I was like, that's ball game because he always makes that one, but it didn't go. It wasn't his night for that, but he really doesn't let much bother him either.
Thanks very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Nick Nurse and the Raptors head back out on the road with a fresh start. It's 2-2 as the series goes to Milwaukee. 0. Kyle Lowry was exactly that tonight with 25 points, 11th time in his postseason career he scored at least 25, and he did it on just 11 shots thanks to 10 free throws in 10 tries. Raptors tie up the series with a 120-102 lead, and they'll head to Milwaukee for Game 4 on Thursday. Back inside the building, we go to Norman Powell.
Evening. Norman, we're going to start with Doug Smith, who's down and to your right.
Norm, Doug Smith, the Toronto Star. You always tell us that you just sort of let the game come to you, but tonight, did you feel like you took it to the game a little bit when you first got out there in that first quarter?
I don't think so. I just try to go out there and see. First of all, I watch from the bench, talking to the guys, looking at how the game is being played, and going out there and trying to impact the game where I see that I can, and just take what the defense is giving me and just stay confident in my reads and just try to follow the game flow.
Norma, Reed Forgrave, CBS Sports. You guys were crisper and seemed to get everyone involved more this game than any game this series. And I'm curious if you could help describe the collective mentality of your team on offense when that sort of stuff is going on. We're playing with that sort of energy and cohesiveness.
I think the coaches have done a great job of breaking down the film for us and seeing where we can improve and attack the defenses and seeing how they're playing us. And especially with Kawhi having the ball, he draws so much attention, so it's opening up a lot for us on the weak side. And we're just trying to play through him a little bit, play through Mark. Mark's done a phenomenal job of breaking down defenses when he has the ball up top, on cuts, on screens. And, I think we're just playing for one another. Everybody's talking on what we see and how we can get better looks, get good looks, and trying to get a shot up every time down. And we're staying confident in one another. We're talking to each other on different shots, different reads that are there. Maybe they missed or shots that they could have taken. And we've just been doing that since the first 2 games.
To Ian, who's standing up on your left here, Norman.
Hey, Norm. Ian Harrison, Associated Press. How much have the events of the past couple of games changed this team's mindset heading now into Game 5?
I think the first 2 games, they really brought the intensity to us. They really came out and were more physical, were more active, and we wanted to change that narrative. Coming home, we wanted to protect home court. We wanted to come out with a lot of juice, be the aggressors, be more physical, and take the game to them. And I think we really did that. These Game 3 and Game 4. Being able to be their aggressors on defense, being tied in on the fundamentals of our defense, and everybody's been rotating. Our communications got a lot better here at home, and we just got to do that on the road.
To Eric Smith, who's at the very back there.
Norm, Eric Smith, Sportsnet. When you look collectively at the postseason overall, do you think this was your team's most complete effort that we've seen thus far?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it helps when guys who come in who haven't been hitting the shots that they normally make, come in and take their shots with confidence still, and then we got a big contribution from our bench, Serge, Fred, and me just came in, wanted to be the aggressors and set the tone. We done all postseason talking to each other on game in, game out, on how we can help and how we can contribute. And I thought we did a great job of doing that today, getting everybody involved, getting everybody touches in the flow in their spots. I think, like I said before, the coach has done a great job of breaking down the offense of where we can attack them and get guys easier looks.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you, Norman.
Norman Powell with 18 points. He was a plus 29 tonight, best of any player on the floor as Toronto evens up the series at 2 games apiece. Giannis Antetokounmpo with 25, 10, and 5 on the night. Not nearly enough, though, for the Bucks, who head back home for a home game in Game 5 on Thursday. Here is the Greek Freak afterward.
The feeling's not any different. We still got to get better. And I'm sticking that game plan. Just gotta play with more energy, execute better. But our feeling is the same. It doesn't change. They did their job. They protected the home, and we gotta do our job now.
Giannis, you had the first few minutes of the game, you were kind of getting to your spot, getting where you wanted. Did anything change after those first few minutes? Did the looks change against you? Or?
No, nothing changed.
Giannis, the turnovers the last couple of games have been a little bit of a problem for you guys. Do you think that this is more what the Raptors are doing defensively, or you guys are being a little bit too careless with the ball at times?
It's both. It's both. We got to give them credit. Obviously, they are doing a great job defensively, helping one another, closing, the drive lanes, using their hands in the pass lane. They're doing a good job, but we got to execute better. We got to take care of the ball better. Something that we can get better at. So we're going to try to get better when we play at home.
Giannis, you came out aggressive tonight. You guys got that 12-5 run. You had a couple of dunks. Just kind of how did this one slip away?
I don't know. Obviously, I think we started aggressive. We played hard in the first couple of minutes, first quarter, second quarter a little bit, but we just, I think in the third quarter came out flat. It's something that we can get better at, something that we can fix. It's something that we've been doing all season. Usually in the third quarter we come out and we're aggressive, making shots, we're moving the ball, but wasn't able to do it tonight. But at the end of the day, we're not going to lose our confidence. We know that we're good at it, and hopefully when we get back home we can execute better in the third quarter and throughout the whole game.
How much pressure do you feel like you're under now to take care of business?
There's no pressure. There's no pressure. Obviously, we got to take care of home. It's our job, but I don't think there's pressure. We just got to go out there, have fun, play good basketball, be us, and try to win.
On a night like tonight where you guys are able to hold Kawhi down, just what do you think about the other shots, the other guys getting those looks? Is there something you guys can do differently defensively about that?
No, we're just going to keep doing the same thing. We want the other guys to make shots, actually not make shots, take shots. We got to keep, still being aggressive defensively on Kawhi, try to limit these shots, but at the end of the day, if guys come off from the bench and they knock down shots, we got to live with it. We're doing our job.
You said you have to keep your confidence. Where does that confidence come from right now?
And we've been playing good basketball, the whole year. Obviously, if you lose one or two games, it's not the end of the world. We realize, where we are right now. We realize the opportunity that we have, but at the end of the day, we build habits, all season long. So we're not going to lose, our confidence. We're going to keep believing our habits, keep trusting one another, and it's going to take care of itself. At the end of the day, if we do the right thing, we still believe in our habits and we still trust one another, and it doesn't take care of itself. We did our job, and that's what it's all about.
What was Coach Boat's message after the game to you guys as a team?
We just gotta take care of our body, regroup, get better, and take care of business at home.
Giannis, this whole series we've talked about making the right play and finding that balance between making the right play and being aggressive. Do you feel like you got to turn up the aggressiveness and maybe not make that pass quite as much?
I don't know, man. and that's a question that I gotta, I'm gonna be able to answer tomorrow. When I watch the film and see if I gotta be, more aggressive or gotta keep, make the right pass. But it's been working so far. With the Eastern Conference Finals, by making the right pass, by making the right play. So, I don't see a reason I should, change it now. The team should change it now. I don't see a reason.
Bledsoe has obviously struggled a little bit in this series. At times he's looked probably more hesitant than he's been all season long, whether it's taking the shot or unsure of what he's supposed to do with his drive or take the shot. What do you say to him, and how can you guys get him going?
You just talk to him, tell him to keep being aggressive. I really do not, worry about Bledsoe because I know he's going to do his job. He's going to come out aggressive. He's going to find his rhythm. But at the end of the day, the message to him is stay aggressive. Keep trying to go downhill, keep making the right pass, and eventually it's going to fall. But he's been doing a great job just being a leader, talking to everybody, and just trying to affect the game as much as he can, in any area he can.
Can you assume that about Eric, or as a team leader, would you check in on him anyway? He was out of the locker room pretty quickly. He looked frustrated tonight. Do you talk to him?
Oh yeah, I definitely talk to him. That's my job. But I've told, you gotta stay aggressive. Eventually it's gonna fall. As long as you're going downhill, they're not gonna be able to stay in front of you. It's gonna be a long series. They're gonna get tired. Gotta keep breaking the wall and try to make the right play.
You guys fought so hard for home court advantage. Is this where it pays off? Maybe a change of scene can change momentum too, just going home?
Definitely. We've been working all year to be, number one in the East and have home court advantage, and hopefully we can take it off home and it pays off at the end. Hopefully, we'll see.
First loss this postseason when Giannis has scored 24 or more. Likewise, Chris Middleton had a big scoring night, not enough. He had 30.
Chris, on a night like tonight where most of the team can't get things going, just what is it they were doing that was making it so tough on you?
Just playing team defense. Tough, making us, play a little bit one-on-one basketball, forcing us into tough shots. I mean, that's basically it. They're flying around, collapsing in paint, and then scrambling. I think they did a great job on us defensively tonight.
Chris, Greg Matzik, WTMJ, right here. You guys have controlled pace against so many teams this season. Was it strange to have that feeling like you couldn't really stop the bleeding and the Raptors were in control?
We just couldn't get stops. I feel like for the most part, from top to bottom tomorrow, they guys played well. They shared the ball, they moved the ball, took advantage of some of our defensive coverages and just made shots.
Times on defense where guys weren't closing out hard, we're losing guys on back cuts. Just what was the biggest issue for you guys on that end of the court?
Yeah, we didn't really take away one thing from them. For the most part, I feel like they got anything they wanted, from the paint to the blocks to the mid-range to the threes. I feel like we just didn't take away one thing tonight defensively, so just got to be better.
In a game like this, just how disappointing is it to come out as a team with this kind of effort? Obviously, you guys started as in a pretty good way in the first quarter, but then that slowly just fell off.
It's disappointing, but the series is 2-2. It's not the end of the world. They protected home court just like we did. I know Game 5 is going to be a dogfight. Now it's the first team to 2 wins, so can't feel sorry for ourselves that we lost 2 in a row here. Have to go protect home court and then go from there.
Chris, is it easy to turn the page after a loss like this? 2 pretty tight games, 2 kind of lopsided games, but is it easy just to take it as one loss and move on, or is that a challenge?
That's the way it's got to be. It's one game, one loss. First game 3 was a double overtime game. We lost that, had to move on. It's going to be a new day tomorrow, and a new game. I can't remember, Thursday, Friday, whenever that is. Just got to move on from it.
Eric named The Athletic over on your left. So often this season when you guys have lost games, it's always been just trusting what you're going to do the next game, hitting more shots, closing out a little bit better. Is it difficult in these moments when you lose 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals to have that same faith, that same trust?
Got to. It's the playoffs. Eastern Conference Finals, it's not going to be easy. Nothing's going to be easy. So, got to move the page, got to rebound from this game, be ready to compete next game at home.
Blood's been such a big part of everything you guys have done this year. Tonight he plays just 20 minutes. It seemed like he was just struggling. It's something he has done through a lot of this series. How can you guys find ways to get him going and build up his confidence?
It's just got to forget about the struggles. I mean, I was having to get very good series offensively up until tonight. Just got to put it behind us. The only way you're going to get out of a slump, the only way you're going to play better is think positive, forget about all the bad, and do what you do your whole life. I mean, that's the message I've told him. Let's go out there and play. Nobody's worried about makes and misses. We just want everybody to compete out there.
Just thinking about that third quarter, it looked like visible frustration from you. Maybe the most visibly frustrated we've seen you. Just defensively, what are you guys going to have to try to do to make it right in the next game?
We got to guard better. I mean, like I said, everybody on their team, I feel like they got pretty much whatever they wanted. Everything was easy. And they made us work on our end. I think that's where my frustration was. I think we're a better defensive team that we showed tonight, and we got to be better.
Last question?
Best scoring night, best shooting night of the playoffs for Chris Middleton, but the series is tied at 2. We'll hear from that guy, Serge Ibaka, fired up about the 2-2 series status. Built XL, Kawhi Leonard on Giannis. Comes up limping, but you know what? From my perspective, it was worth it.
Looked like he grimaced.
He did grimace. He definitely grimaced. But he also dunked all over the Greek Freak first.
I think Greek Freak was grimacing as well after that play.
And now the Bucks are grimacing collectively. Kyle Lowry had something to do with that. He had 25 tonight.
He's tying his shoe.
I'm ready.
Hi, Kyle. Rachel Brady from the Globe and Mail. What do you think about the balanced offense that the group provided tonight, and particularly what the bench gave you guys?
You got 17, 18, and 13. We needed it. Like I said, we haven't had. I think this may be our third game of the playoffs where everyone's kind of stepped up and played and scored and did some things well. But this is one of the nights that we knew Kawhi was a little bit limited, and we had to come out and be aggressive for him. And the great thing about having him on your team is he still gets all the attention. And we fed off of that, drive, kick, swing. He gets in the lane, kick out, and that's the benefit of having a superstar like him on the team.
To Reed, who's to your left there.
Right here, Reed Forgrave, CBS Sports. Kawhi wasn't at his best, like your guys' superstar wasn't at his best, but was this like the best version of Raptors basketball?
Do you think you guys lean on that when you see him hobbling a little bit out there, that it's kind of like we've been in this situation, a quarter of the year?
No, man. We've got a team that we stepped up for him, and he's given us a lot through this playoffs, and a couple games where we can give him a chance to kind of not have to do as much and carry the load as much, and he got down at 34 minutes tonight. I wish he would have played less than 30, but he got 34 minutes, and he still got 19 points, and he helped us. He gets the attention, but we want him healthy. But when we get a chance to go play, and we have to do these type of things, we have to try to be more aggressive and assertive, even to start the games. I think we rely on him a lot, and he definitely does a lot for us. But we have a game like this where everyone steps up. It's a lot of easy to pressure off of him doing so much offensively for us.
Last question, I think, on the left from Eric, please standing up.
Eric Corrine, The Athletic. Just in the locker room, Mark was saying how sort of angry he was at himself for letting his defense impact his offense in Game 2. What have you seen from him in the last 2 games, and was there ever any sort of doubt about what he's able to provide?
Never any doubt. Never any doubt. That's one thing. 2, I think what I've seen is just him being aggressive, being assertive, catching and shooting the trail threes. Not worried about just catching and shooting. He's knowing, like, he watches the film and he sees the shots that he has available, and he's been taking them. And I think he still can do a little bit more offensively, but he's been unbelievable defensively, helping and getting back out to Brook and not letting Brook get shots off. And we're just trying to, just be there to help everybody.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
11th time in Kyle Lowry's postseason career, he scored 25 or more. And listening to him talk, you get the sense that they knew they needed to lift up Kawhi Leonard a little bit the way he has done throughout the postseason for them so far.
Yes, and it was very important tonight. Again, Kyle Lowry is the straw that stirs the drink. He has to get it started on both ends of the floor. His energy, his effort, his ability to make shots and put pressure on Milwaukee was huge, and it took tons of pressure off Kawhi. Kawhi didn't score his first bucket until 6 minutes into this ball game, so he didn't have to overexert himself on that end of the floor while stopping Giannis.
Well, not only did he only take 13 shots, we just didn't see nearly as many possessions where he's pounding it and making something happen and exerting all the energy required to create shots for himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, and I think because he sensed that his team was willing to accept the challenge tonight, the fact that he only took 5 shots in the first half tells you that he had the confidence and the belief in those guys. And to another point on Kyle Lowry, like the thing about Kyle now, before this year, I think the pressure, he was asked to do things that maybe he wasn't as comfortable doing, and that being to score, to be a big-time scorer consistently. With this group, he's now probably their third, arguably fourth best player. And so it allows him to just play to his strengths. And
that's been true all season, not just
it really has, yeah. And I think that's one reason why this team is so good now. Like, he doesn't feel the pressure to have to get 25 a night. He's not built that way. He's not going to do what a Dame Lillard or Steph Curry or Russell Westbrook, those kind of players, Kemba Walker. He's not that kind of player. But when you look at the other facets of the game, he's as good as any point guard in the league. When you exclude scoring, when you talk about toughness, defense, rebounding, deflections, taking charges, he's as good as any other point guard in our league. And this group, as presently constructed, allows him to play that way. And boy, it was an impressive game. They had what I call a zone game tonight, where everybody basically played to their strengths and had a huge impact. Their bench production tonight was probably as good as they'll see again in the postseason.
Plus 25 tonight, their bench was versus Milwaukee's. I want to go back to something that Nick Nurse said in his comments because it was really interesting. You have to remind yourself, this is the first go-around as a head coach for Nick Nurse in the postseason. So this is his third playoff series. Mike Budenholzer has been a head coach, and I think maybe this is his 10th, 11th, something like that. But Nick Nurse was talking about how significantly things change from series to series and how you've got to read it and learn from it. What do you think he's figured out 4 games into this one?
Well, a couple things. One, he can play a small lineup, and he talked about it. They had to go big against Philly because Philly was killing them on the offensive glass.
And Philly's huge.
And they're a big team. They're mobile. And so he couldn't play lineups that he'd played all season long. He didn't play Gasol, Siakam, and Ibaka together during the course of the regular season. He had to go to that in that series. In this series, different dynamic, right? They have to play smaller. They have to do different things in order to have an impact. And that's really what playoff basketball is all about. Like, we saw with Golden State even. Like, they went to different lineups. That's when that Hampton 5 lineup was kind of created, where Iguodala was the guy that they relied upon. Like, so you're thinking, you're scheming with your coaching staff, trying to figure out what's going to necessarily work. Because you do want to be able to show something different than what you did over the course of the regular season, and it's hard to do. And so for him, he's finding out. You saw Powell out there at times with Van Vliet and also with Kyle Lowry. So he's, mixing and matching. It also helps when shots are going in consistently.
That always helps.
But yeah, it does. Every game, just like every series, takes on its own kind of personality. And the coach that can define that and figure it out the quickest oftentimes is the one that ends up on the winning side.
Let's check out the series schedule. Game 5 back in Milwaukee now. That'll happen on Thursday night in best-of-7 series when the series are tied at 2 apiece. Home teams, in this case the Bucks, have gone on to win those series 78% of the time. This is why you play for home court, particularly in the conference finals, or in their case, the NBA finals. Either one of these teams would have home court against the Golden State Warriors. You've seen 4 games. Nothing's been decided. Nothing's been settled. What do you think we know about these 2 teams and how they match up through 4?
Well, what we know that is Toronto has built a system defensively that can stop Giannis and slow him down. Now it's on the other guys around Giannis to be able to make shots. And right now, from 3, they're only making 29% of their shots.
Yep.
And that's in the last 6 games.
Right.
So they've been cooled off tremendously, and I think they used the same strategy, that they've seen work against Giannis. Milwaukee, on the other hand, I think they're searching right now for some consistency. I think if they can get back to running, getting out in transition, playing high energy, which they usually do at home, create some turnovers, get easier baskets, and not have to grind it out against a very tough half-court Toronto defensive team, then they can put themselves in a position to take control of the series.
I think 2 things have to happen. One, they've been physically manhandled the last 2 games. Like, I shouldn't say that, this game, because the game 3, they actually physically were fine.
Yeah.
But this game, they were physically manhandled. Like they didn't accept that challenge. But secondly, and probably more importantly, because they will be better at home.
Yeah.
But Coach Budenholzer is going to have to come up with a better game plan. What a lot of times now in the playoffs, like Jason just said, like they're prepared for what Giannis. They know his tendencies. Mm-hmm. And remember, as great a player as he is, and he's going to be the MVP this year, of all our superstars, he's the most flawed because he doesn't have the consistency of a jump shot.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, against high-level, high-caliber defense, he's the easiest to guard because if you keep him out of transition, they feel like they can guard him. So now he's got to scheme better. He's got to get more opportunities on the baseline. They may have to run some misdirection stuff for him. He's not going to be able to attack 5 sets of eyes and get consistently good looks. So they're going to have to make some adjustments in terms of their schemes in this game. And then also they got to be better defensively and they got to take care of the ball. Because you say, well, they only had 12 turnovers. They gave up 17 points off those 12. So that means they're having live ball turnovers.
Right.
They're having some unforced turnovers. They can't have that at home. And if they can do those things, then they're going to have a great chance to go up 3-2. But I think this game could be the series. I really get a sense that both teams now believe the other can beat them. Mm-hmm. And I think Milwaukee's going to have tremendous pressure on them because they're going to have a lot of guys that are going to have to step up that have never been in this situation before.
Not to hit you with more of those percentages, but the Game 5 winner in these situations tends to win 82% of the time historically. We'll take a break here. I believe we're waiting on Serge Ibaka. Is that correct? That is the word on the street. There he is, doing his thing. We'll hear him talk about doing his thing. As promised, Serge Ibaka after a double-double and a Game 4 win.
In English and then French and then Spanish. So can we start with Eric at the back on the left with his hand up, Serge?
Serge, Eric Smith, Sportsnet. I've asked this a couple of times to some of the other guys. Do you think that this was your team's most complete effort when you look at the contributions from yourself, from Norm, from Fred, especially in the second unit and the impact that you guys had?
Yeah, I think so. This playoff so far, yes. And, we need it from, our team needed from us, coming on the bench, to bring some energy and, defense intensity and, score some points to help our starting lineup. I think it was a big time for us tonight.
To Eric, who's down and to your left there.
Hey, Serge, Eric Corrine, The Athletic. We were talking with Nick before the game about offensive rebounding and how dangerous it can be given how good they are on transition.
Yeah.
What's your mindset when deciding to go in for rebounds versus getting back, and how were you able to succeed on that tonight?
Like Nick said, sometimes can be very tricky to go on offense rebound, and you have to be careful, especially playing against this team. Giannis is so good in tradition open court. So as a big, sometimes you have to choose, or you go in, or you have to go get back early and help your teammates. So I just put in my mindset. I said, what? I'm just gonna go. If I'm down, I'm gonna stay down for offense rebound, and if I'm out, I'm gonna go try to get back earlier.
To Chris, here's in the middle.
Chris Mannix with Sports Illustrated. When you see Kawhi kind of hobbling and grimacing out there during the game, do you notice that? And what do you think he's kind of going through in the time he's out there on the floor?
Oh no, actually I didn't know. I didn't know what is going on. Then Kawhi, his game is kind of he played in his own pace. So sometimes hard to know. But then at some point I felt like now he's going a little bit more too much. And I had to ask somebody on the bench. Then when I heard that, I was like, oh wow.
But I feel like, you know, you have to give him a lot of credit, man. You know, he's a tough guy, you know, and just him being on the court, it helped us a lot, you know. So I think he did understanding what is going on. You know, he said, you know what, I'm just going to be out there and try to create attention and open for my teammates.
We'll go to Mike, who's standing up. To your left, Serge.
Serge, Michael Grange from Sportsnet. At times over this playoffs, the bench unit has not produced the way they have at various times during the year. Did you guys kind of take it personally at times and want to make a statement in a game like this?
Oh yeah, we have to take that personal, you know, and we here for a reason. It's not by mistake we're here, you know. So, and we show during the season like what the bench can do, and then when we have a couple of games where you know we cannot really play our best basketball, or we cannot really help our team, we take that personal, you know. Everybody, you know, we come the next day, we watch film, we stay on the court, we take extra shots, you know, just to try to come back and be better, you know, and like we did tonight.
To Miriam in French down front, to your left, Serge.
Right here. Bonjour Serge.
Bonjour.
Qu'est-ce qui a été différent pour toi entre le match numéro 3 et le match numéro 4?
J'essaie seulement de jouer, au basketball. J'essaie d'être très agressif dans la peinture, surtout en défense et en attaque, pour essayer de prendre les rebonds, pour essayer de marquer des petits points.
Tu as quand même fait plusieurs points ce soir.
All right, we've reached the French and Spanish portion of the press conference, so that does it for us, because we don't speak French and Spanish.
I speak un poquito.
Sí. Yeah. Un poco.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to the Spanish part.
Yeah.
A quick thought on where you think we're headed now, and we'll sign off.
I kind of sense we're going to 7.
Yeah. I thought that when the series began, it was going to go 7. I still feel that way.
Home wins.
But I tell you what, Game 5, it is going to be a battle.
Yeah.
Because if this game is close in the fourth quarter, all the pressure shifts on Milwaukee every shot, every possession, the lack of experience, and they're going to get tight.
Yeah.
And can Toronto lean on their veteran experience being in this position before? They've been to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Absolutely. And
They
they've
got
got
the
guys
veterans,
on the
they got
roster.
champions.
Yes. Kawhi Leonard, Marc Gasol's been fairly deep in the playoffs. Lots of guys who've done it more than the Milwaukee guys. That'll do it from us. Stick around. A fresh new edition of Game Time is on the way. A look back at this Game 4 and what the Golden State Warriors are up to now.
Au revoir.